Hi, I'm Selena Brett, and today I want to talk to the parents of transgender kids. Listen, being a parent is tough enough on a day-to-day basis, just getting through what we have to do to get through the day. But every now and then our kids will throw us this curveball that we didn't see coming. Mom, Dad, I'm trans is a huge curveball. In fact, it's more than just a curveball. It's like every pitch in the baseball game coming at us all at one time. So today I want to offer 3 tips to help encourage and support you parents of transgender kids because you're amazing people. Lesson 1, or tip 1 rather, is it's okay to cry. You know, any big life event deserves some emotion. The emotions help cleanse us. It helps cleanse our body, it helps cleanse our mind, it helps cleanse our spirit. Having a child with gender dysphoria is a challenging thing. Sure, it's not as big a deal as a child that is struggling with cancer or some serious illness or having to deal with the loss of a child to death. But transgender is a big deal, darn it. You know, there are a lot of things that have to be considered. There are changes in family dynamics, there are changes in friendships, there are changes in school protocol, and there are changes in the way that society around our child is going to react. I think, though, that the bigger issue really has to move more with a mom's heart issue and that sense of having lost that little boy or little girl that was birthed or adopted. And you know, the reality is that that's really not that different than any other child growing up and what a parent feels like when you think back upon how precious our little baby was, or that little toddler, or that 4-year-old with the wide eyes and exploring the entire world. Those are points in our parenting history that are precious to us, and we remember those things. And when we see our children grow up and they graduate or they marry, we think back on those things and it brings us tears of joy, tears of nostalgia. And so it's not different when we have a child that says that I'm transgender and working through gender dysphoria, except for the fact of what the future may or may not look like. So is it okay to cry? Absolutely it's okay to cry. Let the fears go away. Let the old dreams kind of disappear into new dreams and kind of give room in your heart there for new experiences and for new places for this child to grow and become the amazing person that I know that they will be. Point number 2, find the purple swirl. And so what do I mean by that? If I were to ask the person on the street how many genders there are, most people would say 2, male and female. The reality is that there's more than 2. And if I said something about transgender, I might get lucky and someone would say, oh, that's like a boy in a girl's body or a girl in a boy's body, and they're close. But I like to use the picture of sherbet. So picture this bowl, and I take a scoop of purple or a scoop of blue sherbet for the boys and a scoop of pink sherbet for the girls, and I put them in the bowl. And after a little while, it begins to melt and make swirls. And the next thing you know, you've got these little purple swirls mixing around with blue swirls and pink swirls. And that's kind of what transgender is like. The only thing is that society and our language doesn't really have words for something that's in between these pink and blue genders. So it's a very difficult thing to express to others. And if you're a child, you don't even have the life background and experience to kind of draw from to make another analogy. So what's a parent to do? Well, ask some gentle questions. I like to think of questions like, so when was the first time you started thinking that you might be a different gender than what you were born? Or pick an activity that they're involved with other children with, like a dance or sports activity or band, and ask them, so as you've been thinking about how your gender's changing, how has that changed how you related to other people in your activity? And how do you feel about the activity differently? Or one of my favorites, and it's really good for those kids that like magic or Harry Potter, if you had a magic wand and you could cast the spell and change your body today, would you make that a permanent change and break the wand? Or would you keep that wand around in case you wanted to change back and maybe even change back and forth? It's asking questions like these that are going to help the child begin to explain what he or she's feeling like inside. It's going to build some groundwork for you to have future discussions on this topic and other serious topics that we need to have with our kids. And it does one extra special thing. It demonstrates that you love and care about them. One caution is don't go into interrogation mode and start asking question. And they'll go into manipulator mode and say, don't you really think you feel this way? Which brings me to my third point. Don't clutch the steering wheel. You know, some of you parents are just totally chill. It doesn't matter what your child brings home to you. You deal with it, you move on, you have dinner, you watch TV, you go to bed. God bless you. I'm not that way, and I suspect a whole lot of other parents aren't that way either. So, what do I mean when I say don't clutch the wheel? I mean that we pick our battles, and we have to work through gender identity just like anything else that we do with identity of our children growing up. So, fight the ones that are worth fighting. Things like clothing and makeup and hairstyles, that's all outside the body stuff. It's really not worth investing a lot of energy into. But there are some very important things about being transgender that need to be in place, kind of those boundaries. And those are things like, where is it safe for you to present yourself authentically? Whose homes are you safe in doing that? What public restrooms can you use this way and not be afraid? What's a phone number that you can call me when you need to call me, just like any other thing? And then there's those other things to consider. What do you do if you run into a transphobic adult in authority? What do you do, or how do you stay away from areas, or which areas rather should you stay away from that are unsafe for someone who's transgender, or people that you need to avoid because you know their opinions about transgender? It's all of these sort of things that we as parents have to work through, just like anything else. Find those defined ditches for safety, and kind of just let the stuff in the middle go until they work it out. So there you are, 3 tips. It's okay to cry. Find the purple swirl. Don't clutch the steering wheel. Remember, the thing that we do as parents, and when we do our best, we're doing our best. You're doing your best, and I know you are, so you are your best. Remember, your child isn't just transgender. They are transtastic. And you're not just the parent of a transgender child, you're a transtastic parent.